Cold outreach changes constantly, and if you've been doing it a long time like me, you know the challenge isn't sending emails, it's staying relevant. Because what worked 18 months ago gets ignored today, what works today will probably get ignored in 6 months. That's just the game. But here's the one thing I've never seen to stop working, and it's only getting easier. This is signal-based outreach. There are two types of signals. The first is event-based. We're talking job change, promotion, new rounds of funding, a champion at an account that switches companies. These have been around forever. Tools have been building around them, and because of that, everybody uses them. Your prospect has seen that email 100 times. The second type is inferred and layered. This is where you take two signals that are not obviously related to each other, and you reason about what they mean together. You're not reacting to an event, you're identifying a particular situation to that prospect that probably hasn't been pitched on yet. That's what creates truly one-to-one copy, not merge tags, not, hey, I see you raised Series B. We're talking about actual relevance. The reason this hasn't been scalable until now is because it requires reasoning, not just data lookups. Claude Loop changes that. This video is specifically about the signal layer, how I built the logic, what tools I installed in the loop, and what the output actually looks like. Let's go and dive in. So if you just go to claude.com, the docs, to me, this is no better source than the actual right here, right from the horse's mouth. Because as you know, in this industry, things change like by the second. So I would definitely refer to that from here. So if we look at this depiction right here, you can very simply see that your prompt, okay, you submit a prompt, it gathers context with the agentic loop, takes action, it does some bash commands like a web fetch or a lookup. But what it'll do is once it gathers context, it actually takes action. It will verify the results, and then it'll repeat based on actually the results being verified and good to go, right? And then it'll be done. You'll notice right here where it says you interrupt, steer, or add context. So sometimes you almost want to think of it like shooting an arrow, right? Or anything that goes straight. So when you shoot an arrow, you want it to be as direct and sniper as possible. Like when you aim for something like a bullseye, you want to make sure that you actually going to hit the bullseye, right? When you see an AI model or you're not giving it exact context exactly as you want the output to be, this is where you would need to steer it in order to make sure it's still kind of like a car. You want to sit there and you want to make sure the AI model is actually going towards the direction, right? And what I mean by that is each loop, it'll verify each particular step in order to make sure that that particular loop is done. Therefore, the actual goal is achieved, right? So that's the biggest thing here. And if you just scroll down just a little bit more, we talk about models, talk about tools. There's actually several tools. The core ones are really looking up files, searching the internet, like the web, just knowing knowledge around your code base or skills and things like that. So I encourage you just kind of look through what this actually means, because we're getting into the point where it's not so much the models, it's the actual harness you use, which technically Claude Code is a harness. Codex is a harness. There's a lot of harnesses that are actually being deployed now, but it's that plus the actual LLM that you're using, right? So that's the biggest thing there. And we'll go into more on loops and making sure that you guys, ideally one loop would be the best because the output is just done, right? We're going to go ahead and explain that more here in a little bit, but you're going to need some core tools. So that with that, you need skills and CLI tools. So if you go to our website, topoffunnel.com, you go to resources. So the first one is going to be Instantly CLI because that has super search. It also has obviously a sequencer. So we're going to use that in order to actually launch campaigns. The second one I use just for data, because their data is actually really good, I use it a ton, is Prospeo. Prospeo has a lot of great API endpoints, and so I made their CLI tool. So we're going to go ahead and install that as well. If I were to say, anything in natural language of, hey, find me CEOs of B2B SaaS Series A through C or something like that, it actually has a lot of good data comparable to, the rest of them like Apollo and ZoomInfo. That's what we're going to start with. We're going to go ahead and go right into Cursor or Claude Code. And just to save you a lot of time, and this actual script or this context right here, this ran for probably around 3 hours. I'm not 100%, but let's just say when I sent it off on the loop, I had no context. It was completely empty. And what you want to do is when you start from scratch, it's actually the heaviest lift because you kind of have to explain yourself from scratch, right? Think of it like if you own a business, which if you do, that's great. Reach out to us. We'll work with you. If you own a business, you generally want to be a visionary visionary. Think of it like if you're an orchestrator and you're leading an orchestra, you're going to have your flutes, your clarinets, your trombones, your percussion. You're going to have all sorts of your violins. All of them need to cohesively be in sync in order to make beautiful music, right? So if you're the commander and you're saying, hey, whatever, and you notice one of the instruments is off or anything like that, you need to steer it. You crack it, whatever, be like, hey, get in sync, right? This is true orchestration, no pun intended, especially when you're working with Claude or any other LLM. And when you're starting from scratch, literally you have unlimited agents, depends on your subscription, but you have unlimited agents in order to do the task. Well, with that, in an organization, you have you as the CEO, right? Under that, you probably have some VPs or some directors or things like that, in which you delegate to the directors of like, hey, we have this is what I need. I expect you to perform that task. The director will then orchestrate that to managers. And then for managers, they orchestrate that to your ICs, your individual contributors, right? And if you think about it, these are the loops that humans have been doing. So if the CEO has something, it's going to loop down all the way to the ICs, and then it's going to loop up. So if you think about it, loops have been around quite a while. What you need to do is almost vision it that Claude Code or your harness is actually the meta. You are the CEO, and you are then orchestrating, right? So the first thing is first, we need context and capabilities. We have context, which is skills. Okay. And by the way, if you like these resources, I will put in the description and it's completely free. So yeah, just go ahead and click on that link and we'll get you squared away. So if I hit Shift Command V, because in Cursor, you can populate a preview. So I basically made a playbook from scratch on what actual signals that we want to infer on. And the nature of this is really just kind of the lay of the land, what good outreach is. We want to reduce AI slop. We want to reduce, hey, hope this email finds you well. We want to reduce, hey, I saw your website and, blah, 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 right? So some areas that I wanted to make sure that when I start the loop is proper context and guardrails around making sure it's steered the whole time. That way it can be minimal on the expectations of the agent actually asking me. Think of it like if you are directing your directors or your ICs, be like, hey, make this report for me. But if they have no skills, they're not going to be able to expect much, right? So if you have the skills outlined, it's going to be way better. So the way you want to do that is I'll start with something like Opus. So the largest model of them all when it comes to Claude, at least for now. What I'll do is I will say, who you are, tell the agent your business, your website, say to understand context and fetch your website. And then you are to use Instantly CLI, okay, and Prospio CLI, because these are CLI tools in which it will call. And then you'll want to be able to identify your ICP. It'll lay this out. And then research and copy, okay? This is kind of where token orchestration comes into play. We don't necessarily want to use Opus for all of the other agents, right? So one PhD doctor, CEO, they could ask a bunch of other PhDs of equal intelligence to do the job, but it's actually kind of overkill. It's going to do well, but you're going to waste your tokens and you're going to say, hey, sorry, you're out of usage for the next 8 hours and you got to pause, right? So what I would recommend is you start with the most powerful model like Opus, and then what you do is when you launch it, you deploy to research and actually do the work. Think of it as your individual contributors. I will say to deploy or spawn background agents using Sonnet. So I will have Claude Code basically fan out Sonnet sub-agents in batches of 15. Think of it if I have a team of 15, just going out and doing all sorts of searches, okay? So the first part here is really understanding persona and voice. You source leads from either Instantly, Super Search, or Prospio, or, whatever you get your sources from. From here, we're going to do research and copy. This is where it's really going to take probably quite a while. I mean, probably 45 minutes of just sitting there, and you can be, off doing whatever. And from here, we have copy standards. So this is where the verification comes into place. Once it deploys a swarm of agents, now this is where the verification comes into play, right? So we want to verify several things. Does it have a proper hook? So in other words, when you research a particular person, let's say they work for Stripe. Let's say that, you notice a signal like, oh, Stripe just announced some, cool payment feature or whatever. You could reach out to say, oh, I noticed you launched your Stripe payment feature. Like, that's cool, but it doesn't really mean anything. But let's say they are announcing, or there's some research that you saw on X or maybe on a blog like TechCrunch or something like that to show rumors of them launching this next major thing to sync up with another or acquire another company. That could be an indication that there's going to be growth or some sort of change management, right? So you're inferring on this signal, you're inferring on this signal, and then you could reach out because that's enough to say, hey, I noticed this, two completely different things that are not directly correlated. And that's just one kind of spitball example, right? We'll go into it here in a second. And then from here, once it's verified, we are actually going to verify as a human to say, hey, we want to verify a good data set. I'd say like 10, maybe up to 50, make sure it's spot on. And then from there, that's where the loop comes into place. So you want to really articulate it and launch based on that. So that's pretty much what I did from start to finish. And it went through a whole lot, right? So going to the very end, I did 2 batches. The first batch is really doing probably up to 1,000 or so. So you want to start because the biggest thing is, say using a tool like Clay, you wouldn't necessarily let it rip for a huge table, right? You want to make sure that you're doing like at least 10 rows or maybe 50, something like that, to kind of check each one to see if you can identify any edge cases on any data points that might be off, right? That's where you refine your prompts, things like that. But what I'll do is I'll start with like 10. So I'll spawn 1 or 2 agents to say, hey, do this. Let's see what kind of results I get. That way it doesn't take very long. And then from there, you scale that to like 50 or 100. And then once that's good, you let it rip and you say, okay, you put /loop, /loop like that. And then you could say how many intervals. You can leave that empty though, but you could basically tell Claude, like, I want you to run in loops, deploy Sonnet. This is the expectation on verifying it actually is correct. Do not stop until this is verified to be correct. And then I want you to stop in order for me to verify before you hit send. Do not send with any verification there. And that's kind of what I was doing. I could hit send, but I wanted to make sure first before we embarrass ourselves, right? So it went through, verified, clean copy, real signals, okay? The whole thing. We have source, enrich, copy, upload, ran in the background with 0 instantly credits and 8K Prospeo credits, nothing sent, all paused. We can keep going. So this is one of those things where I say, okay, I have almost 9,000 leads. Let's test it for a day or two and send some volume. We'll see what results we get, and then we can scale that even further. From here, pay no attention to the code base, but this is basically an empty folder that it has done and created basically from start to finish. This is only going to get easier and easier, especially now that I already have the skill outlined. And then I also have the cold email playbooks. We have ICP and filters. We have business context around what we do with tofu. We have all that kind of stuff. And so then you have leads. Okay. So from here, let's go and hop over to Instantly. So I have already uploaded the leads here. So you can see we have almost 9,000 leads right there. And then I'm about to pull a trigger to make sure it's good. But we have several things. We have call to action. We have follow-up. We have the hook. Then we have a bridge. Good old subject line. And then there's the body of the language. I like to call it the bridge because what you're doing is you're taking the hook in order to capture their attention. The bridge is kind of displaying them from your hook and how it's relevant in order to bridge the gap between that and your call to action, right? That's the biggest thing there. So if we go to sequences, you'll see here that the copy is exactly like this. A lot of times it could be just hi, first name and message, but we have hook, bridge, call to action, then we would follow up, and then you can see right here, that's the message. There's no canned messaging or anything like that. So if I were to go into preview here, you could see we have Michael, and I'm just opening up right there. You're positioning Vaudit's enterprise tier to CFOs and FinOps leaders, but the only sales motion on the site is a Calendly link. This is an indicator to say like, bro, you're an enterprise here. Why are you using Calendly, number one? And how is it a Calendly link? That gap matters because CFOs and FinOps leaders rarely find you through a calendar link. A signal-based GTM system could map your full TAM of finance decision makers, surface the ones actively evaluating spending tools, and reach them before they default to a competitor. If I mapped out what a full go-to-market system looked like for Vaudit from your TAM of CFOs and FinOps leads through signal-based outbound flywheel, would that be worth a look? The goal here is you don't want to be like, hey, you want to book a meeting? Or hey, can I send you this PDF that you'll never ever read. I mean, it's subjective. It's really information-based lead magnets, which is kind of an old thing, and you don't really actually know if they're going to view it or not, right? We have another one. Okay, I'm just picking randoms here. Hi, Levon. The Pledge Health acquisition signals collectively is expanding its addressable market fast, but your site's only conversion path is still a demo form with no outbound engine servicing to healthcare orgs who haven't heard of you yet. Again, the outbound motion is raising awareness. It is saying, hey, we're reaching out. I noticed this, etc. And from there, so yeah, we're just basically providing, and we're, you always want to test and kind of see what works there. Let's go to another one. Let's go to Barbara. Poly has Stripe, DocuSign, and Okta on the logo, while and 200K employees or companies using the product. But your enterprise growth motion is a schedule a demo button waiting for buyers to find you. With 200K companies on the platform and Stripe tier logos already in the mix, the enterprise buyers most likely to convert are the ones who share that profile have not yet heard of Poly. A full GTM system could map that segment, detect the right HR and ops decision makers, and reach them before they land on a competitor. And then again, the call to action. So my point is we are basically analyzing their website to be like, hey, you have this big shoes, you have all great case studies, but then you have like a Calendly link that just looks kind of novice, amateur hour, right? We're talking about an inferred signal. So if I were to say, if someone was to post something on X, or let's say Capterra or G2, and they're complaining, and they'll be like, hey, this system is slow and awful, we're not going to use it anymore. And they leave like 1 star, right? And then let's say you scraped it, and then you notice on LinkedIn, because you enriched it, that somebody is posting, considering another option because this is slow, or has anybody else seen issues here? Well, we're talking about 2 different complaints, right? Or more or less them complaining, and you can be like, hey, clearly we saw the G2, or maybe more people are complaining about things, and then you notice that person posted that. Those 2 sources are completely separate, and you can infer on the 2 separate ones in order to know, like, hey, this is actually where we can start a conversation and potentially do that. So there's signals everywhere, but if you try to push your Claude, okay, using Sonnet, to say, hey, you take 2 different sources that are completely separate. I want you to reason with those 2 to infer on if there's actually something like a signal, to put the dots together, because that shows that you have a little bit of unique research. It wasn't just a data parameter. So all this to say, if you use Claude loops, number 1, you almost want to prompt Claude for at least 5 to 10 minutes. I mean, I would definitely use speech to text with Spokenly or Super Whisper or something like that. But if you already have an established code base, like right here, and again, links in the description, you can refine it to your specific company, and then on the little things, hopefully move the loop that much further, because sometimes you're going to want to steer it. But then on the next motion, where you actually go from like 10 to 50 or 50 to 1,000, that loop is going to take some time. It should come back with good quality, and then from there you can actually have a final copy for you to be able to pull a trigger and generate some opportunities. If you want to go deeper on Claude and B2B outbound, I did a full video on how Claude skills changed outbound forever. Link is in the description and right up here. If you made it up to this point, I really appreciate you watching. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.